If you're thinking about getting one of these new Lantana hybrid gem plants that grow in mounds from 1 to 2 feet tall, here's some things that you need to know beforehand. You see this? The label is full of lies, but in a good way. This mound is 4 feet wide and about 2.5 feet tall. This mound is about 2.5 feet tall and about 6 feet wide. All of them were labeled as annuals and were labeled to grow less than 2 feet wide. So here's another one that I planted right here. I had to prune this down almost to the ground about 2 months ago just because it was taking over this entire corner. So it had halfway covered this shrub to where when I pruned it, this part of the shrub hadn't been used to seeing sunlight, and it still had, so you can see some scorch from getting exposed to the sun again. But this is another example of why I need to move it, because for next year I don't want to have to worry about it overtaking plants to each side of it. So this is going to be a huge winter of relocating these annual lantana. White salvia is over 3 feet tall, as it's supposed to get. This one's probably more at like 3.5 feet. This was planted in front of it with the impression that it was going to get 2 feet tall. So we'd have like a 3.5 foot tall plant, and then it would cascade down to a 2.5 foot plant in front of it. And that's really not what's happening here. And there was a good 2 foot spacing between these plants, and the salvia was much bigger. I want to say the salvia was triple the size when I planted this here. But since this lantana is not the size that was anticipated, this salvia is in dire need. It's basically a rescue mission at this point. In order for me to save that salvia, I've got to get this plant out of the way because it's completely taking over the sunlight in this spot, and that's why it's withered down to such a small state. I mean, this salvia is probably barely hanging on to the end of its life because it was here long before the lantana, and the poor thing is hanging on by a thread. There's another one. So this lorope is 2 feet tall right next to it. That's at its mature height of about 2 feet. So look how much taller that lantana is. It's still pushing out blooms and everything, and butterflies still love it. But it's completely taken over the pathway here because it wasn't what was expected. That's not the expected size. This one's only a year old, okay? So the first year it does follow that guide. This is about 2 feet tall and about 3 feet wide. It's a nice little mound, and it can strategically complement other border plants at this size. So just be prepared if you do get these plants that they're probably not an annual, and it's probably going to come back much bigger than you anticipated. So just keep that in mind. The first year it can go on the front edge, but just have a place that you're going to put it at the end of that season so you don't get stuck battling it, taking over other border plants. I mean, I will still make a place in my garden for these plants. It's still a very pretty plant. Not knowing the size that it was going to get created a lot more unexpected maintenance. Just want to make sure everybody has all the facts before they buy these beauties and put them in their garden, because they will create more work for you down the road if you're not prepared.